The best of the Morning X with Barnes, Leslie, and Jimmy. 99X.
Hello, everyone. It's Leslie and Jay Harren, our music director.
Hello, hello.
From 99X. We're at a secret location. We can't say where we are.
Really?
Yes, because then hundreds of thousands of fans would barge into the hotel room. So,
Do you think they would come barging into the room 1109 at the Peninsula
At
in
the
Chicago? I don't.
do you sign your name under? I mean, are you really registered under Chris Martin
No, I actually register under the name Elton John.
and Johnny Buckland? Or you register under?
Yeah.
Johnny Martin?
No, yeah, Johnny Martin, exactly. Yeah. Husband and wife.
Or Johnny Cochran.
Yeah.
Oh no, he just died. I can't say
Yeah,
that.
God rest his soul.
I'm sorry. Can we start? I'm sorry.
You didn't mean it,
I'm
though.
sorry. I didn't mean it. I was thinking of Eddie Cochran,
Yeah.
who's a singer. Or was he died as well? I can't get anything right.
We're talking to Chris and Johnny. I wanted to say backstage, but we're in a hotel room from Coldplay. This is really exciting for us, guys. Thanks so much
What,
for
being
giving
in
us
a
the
hotel room
time.
with us, or?
Yes, that and just being able to sit and talk with you without a lot of rush and you got to go hit sound check or something. This is very special. Thank you.
Well, you've come a long way to talk to us, and we appreciate it.
Now this is exciting. Jay and I have been stressing about this for 2 days. We're a little
Really?
nervous.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Only 2 days.
Only 2 days, yeah.
We've been stressing about it for 4 days.
You knew we were coming?
We
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
you were coming.
Excellent.
This is my 9th outfit I tried.
It works.
Thanks.
It works for you, absolutely.
I love it. It's got black on black, which is usually my attire. But
Yeah.
today I wore green, so.
Well, there's
Green's
nothing wrong with
nice
that.
too.
Green's nice too.
Now, the last time we talked to you, we were backstage in Gwinnett and in Duluth, actually, in Georgia. That was the night Elton John played with you guys on stage doing Trouble.
Yeah.
That was very special. Did you work that out that day?
Well, we went. What did we?
We had lunch with
We
him.
had lunch with Elton John, Sir Elton John, Elton John, and
EJ.
EJ, and he, of course, is a lovely man, as you know, and we just said over dessert or something. Must have been particularly fruity, but I remember saying, why don't you come and play on stage with us? He was like, all right, I've got some. And then he did, and it was incredible.
When he agreed to do it, did you think he was serious, or were you just kind of like, yeah, he's just saying that?
We knew he was serious
Yeah.
because we got the bill. $12,000 per minute.
Wow. It's an expensive song.
So we only had him on for a
So we played it twice as
minute.
fast.
Were you a fan of Elton's?
No, he's terrible. What's he ever done? Of course. We
But I
wouldn't have
mean-
any old. We wouldn't have it. We don't have people on stage just because they're famous.
Well, he is such a fan of yours, honestly. He's a fan of your music, and he's so on top of just all new music. It's
Yeah.
He
unbelievable.
knows everything about
He really does know everything
everybody.
about everybody.
So, did you sit down and rehearse it all for
A
Trouble?
little bit.
He came
In fact, a lot. Yeah, he came backstage. In fact, my mum and dad don't really keep many pictures of what we do in their house because it looks a bit, silly. But one they do have is when Sir Elton came backstage and we were rehearsing, and that's one picture they have.
That's very
So
cool.
that shows you it was a big
It's a big deal.
deal. You know what is? We're not under the illusion anymore that famous people are different to normal people.
Right.
But what we are still under, what we do still have is respect for people that deserve it. And Sir Elton has done some pretty great music.
Well, he's very accessible. I was telling you guys this a little while ago before we started the interview. He lives in Atlanta like 6 months out of the year, and he's often seen, at Tower buying records and shopping and having dinner, and people kind of leave him alone. And I think he really appreciates the fact that he's not hounded by the press like he would be like if he lived in New York or LA. So it's kind of cool having him there as a part-time resident.
Right.
But that was a very special evening and an amazing
Yeah, it really
show.
was.
Amazing
Every time
show.
we play in Atlanta, it's pretty special.
Well, we wanted to bring that
Yeah.
up.
Even when we don't play in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Remember
Well,
when
we
we
played in
cancelled
the
that one?
car park.
Played in the car park.
Yeah, I remember that.
Something always happens there.
It was pretty well documented that the show before the one that we were just talking about, the one at the Tabernacle, was a turning point for Coldplay.
Yeah.
Why was that?
Because we'd just been playing some radio festivals before that where we were playing with
Heavy bands.
very heavy bands, and we weren't really going down that well, I don't think.
I'd say badly. Won't be confused.
Yeah, people were showing their affection by throwing things at us. And,
Yeah. and each other.
That's a sign of praise here in the States.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I guess when you're sandwiched in between like System of a Down and Stained, it's got to be a little hard.
No, don't put System of a Down. System
No,
of
I
a Down
love
are
them.
incredible. And it was nothing to do with System of a Down. It was to do with some other heavy bands, and we won't mention them. And
Okay.
it wasn't even there. Nothing to do with them. No one, it's just if you order a turkey sandwich and you get given a lettuce, you're going to be unhappy. And
You're
that's
going to
Sure.
throw stuff at it.
The audience
Yeah.
felt that we were
Yeah.
basically a bit of a lettuce. So then we came to Atlanta, and we were like, right, either we quit today or we learn how to play Georgia on My Mind, and we just embrace the fact that some people like what we do, and really play as strongly as possible for them, and we did. And Atlanta was the first place we did it, and it's largely the result why we're still here.
It's such an amazing venue, that place
Yeah.
as well.
The Tabernacle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very
incredible.
special place. You guys are coming back in September, so we're
Yeah.
excited about that. And there was that other show that you had to cancel because of weather,
Yeah,
right?
it was going to be in the Masquerade Music Park.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the weather came and
And rained on us.
And I remember you stayed, though, and talked to a bunch of fans that were waiting
Well,
outside.
we played a
Yeah.
concert outside.
That was cool. So I honestly want to talk about the making of X and Y, because I read on your website, it took 18 months to record this record, and there was a point in time where you guys actually walked away from the project because you weren't really happy with what was going on. And how did you get back to really going back to square one? Because I think, Johnny, you had a great quote about, being a band and having to play again, but meaning play in a different sense other than playing music together.
Well, no, both really. I mean, I think both came together at the same time. We'd stopped being a proper band. We weren't really playing together at all. And so then we went into the rehearsal room with just the four of us and none other kind of,
Paraphernalia.
surrounding us. So we just went in and learnt to play together as a band again, and also at the same time to be friends again.
Because after being on tour for so long and being around each other for so long, you probably needed a little time away.
Well, it wasn't so much we needed time away. We just needed to get to know our friends and families again.
Yeah. But then, funny enough, we came back kind of even closer. It's not like we were not friends, but we then made a commitment to then become living in each other's pockets again, which is much harder, which is, it happens to you naturally when you're beginning as a band because you don't have much money and you don't have many friends.
sort of depend on each other then.
Yeah, you depend on each other a lot more. So we now all live in each other's pockets, but very much by choice, especially when we were making the large chunk of that album.
So you just went back to the basics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I read that you were out, doing things together, playing basketball or whatever, and you did things as a group.
Field trips. Yeah. Field trips. We walk in pairs.
We're talking to Chris and Johnny from Coldplay.
Chunks.
Now I want to ask both of you this seriously because, you read all these interviews and these articles about, the pressure of putting this record out. Was there more pressure for this or for the sophomore record? Because this is your third record. The first two were amazingly successful.
Well, this is a great question. The truth is, the external pressure that changes around you on every album. On the first album, you have the external pressure of needing to make something that sells enough to keep you signed. Mm-hmm. On the second album, you have the external pressure of trying to prove yourself again after your first album was a success. The third album, you have the external pressure of everyone waiting to either pounce on you or slam you or whatever, or your record company relying on your release for its share prices or whatever. All these external pressures that every band has, but in different forms, never are worth responding to as much as the one overriding pressure that everybody has, which is to try and create something that you're very proud of. Which sounds terrifically obvious to say, but what I mean by that is when we try to respond to the pressure of having sold so many records or blah, 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 the music just sounded really not very inspired. And once we said, well, why don't we just respond to the pressure that we always had on us initially, which was to just impress each other and try and be as great as possible. That's the biggest pressure, and that's the pressure that everybody has. And it's hard to respond to, but it's fun to respond to.
But was there a moment when you were in the recording process of X and Y where you said, this is it? This is the record that we wanted to make. And you knew when that moment was?
I think we knew it when it was we were going about it in the right way as soon as we went back into the rehearsal room. I think that was then we knew, we didn't know it was the record we were going to make, but we knew it was the way we were going to make it. I think we felt a lot happier about it.
I think the date we finally realised we were happy with it was March the 7th, 2009.
At 2:00.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, is my point.
You've got to be proud of this record, though.
It's too early for us to tell, you know.
But on a personal level, you must listen to it and think, okay, we really put our best foot forward here.
Well, we actually don't listen to it now because
I don't have a copy of it, to be honest.
I don't have a copy of it either.
We're not allowed.
Was it just because you were so close to it, you just wanted to kind of
We're
step
so
away
close
from
to
it?
it, and and also it's too late to change anything now.
Yeah, exactly. Once it's finished, you just have to kind of say, well, I won't listen to it anymore because I don't want to find anything else to change.
You know, you talk to like directors or people that are actors and they're like, well, I can't watch myself on screen or I can't look at my work. Is it hard for you guys to listen to your material now and go, oh, I could have done this better or I wish I had done that?
I think you can listen, once you've finished an album, you can listen to the album before it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when you are...
But I still don't. There's no point. Because I really listen to music to hear things that are going to surprise me. And by the time we finish an album, I know every second of it totally backwards. So when I listen to it, nothing surprises me, so I've got nothing to plagiarize.
When you are...
Well, it's true, though. It's absolutely true. And you don't go back and learn... Well, actually, you do go back and learn your guitar parts.
That's the only time I ever listen to them.
Yeah.
Bands now have so much more, just more stuff that they have to do when they release a record. I mean, there's, the pressure of all of the interviews you have to do for print and radio and contests you have to do for radio stations. And, there's just so much that goes on, like morning, noon, and night. And back in the 70s, you talk to some of these legendary artists now who say, God, it was so much easier back then. You just got on the bus and you toured and that's all you had to do. Is the routine, it's got to be grueling.
Is that true, though? I mean, when you see the Beatles landing in America on that DVD, they were non-stop working all the time.
2 gigs a night. Press conferences.
But they ended up not touring after that. They ended up just ending their whole touring. But when you talk to, and anyone from like the late 60s to the early 70s, they say, their commitment was just getting on the bus and touring, and they didn't have all this other stuff. There was no MTV. There was, there's a lot less pressure.
Like, if that's the hardest part of your job, you've got a pretty great job. We've got the greatest job in the world, and if someone says, can you talk to this person for half an hour?
So you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah, even the bits that aren't the most enjoyable are all worth doing because they just contribute to this thing that we would absolutely die for.
Right. And then your dream has come true, basically.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you have to keep making it. You have to keep working to make sure that it's still true each day.
Now, everyone has their role in the band. I know that I'm on a morning show, and everyone has their role on the morning show. You've got the antagonist on the show, and you got the guy who's the party guy, and I'm the voice of reason. And everyone has their role. What is your role, Johnny, in Coldplay?
I just hang around the band. I think they just let me hang around.
You're the quiet one?
Yeah, pretty quiet.
What I've read that Chris has said that you make the songs come alive.
That's very nice of him to say. But I don't think that's true. I just kind of try and play as many different things as possible until everyone says one of them's good.
I would describe your role in the band as being, if you're looking out from the beach.
Yes.
And you see one idiot on a jet ski. That's me. close to the beach, the first one everyone sees doing somersaults and all this nonsense on a jet ski. I hate jet skis. Then in the very distance you see these massive oil tankers, and that's Johnny. Kind of a solid...
Polluting the world.
Okay, in the very distance you see these massive rice tankers.
In one of the articles I read about Twisted Logic, it was said that you guys said it was the angriest song you ever had. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Dead air. I can't remember why I said that, but it is angry.
It's angry, but maybe not the angriest.
It probably is.
It is the angriest, but that's like saying it's the most aggressive flower, or the tallest dwarf.
The song "What If," it's a beautiful song. The happier you are, the more you have to lose. Is that coming from a realist point of view or a pessimistic point of view?
That's not about the happier you are. It's about. It sounds so pretentious when I talk about these songs because we're so close to them, but it's really supposed to be about if you don't take any risk in your life, you won't get anything good out of it.
That's a brilliant point, though. I mean, that's.
It's like
I know it sounds
every
simple,
day
but
to me is a succession of disasters waiting to happen. But every day they don't happen, you should just be really thrilled and look forward to the next one.
A really nice surprise came at the end because we had not heard the hidden track before, and we actually heard that for the first time today, and it reminded me of almost like a Leonard Cohen song, like an old folk song.
Cool.
Oh, good. Well, it was actually written for Johnny Cash. Chris wrote it for him to sing on one of his American recordings albums, but unfortunately, he never got round to it.
He was an inspiration for so many people, but I had the chance to see him in a very small venue. As a matter of fact, at the Tabernacle where you guys played in Atlanta. That was really special, seeing Johnny Cash in a small venue like that. Oh, it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, wow, recently?
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
And his wife was with him. It was one of those moments,
That's incredible.
It was really incredible. Can you remember a show that you saw, maybe as a kid or when you knew you wanted to be a musician that maybe changed it for you?
Well, I got changed when I was actually already a musician by a concert by the Flaming Lips in 1999. We hadn't made an album yet. And I saw them and it was like going to church. It was incredible. It was this overwhelming performance. And it just totally revolutionized how I thought about concerts and
everything. I think they changed all of us into not being embarrassed about being
they're just so proud. Like Wayne is like, you don't have to sing. You don't have to be able to sing, man. You just got to go out there and give it all your soul and your heart. And you got to tell those people, like he talks like that.
Right.
And it's incredibly motivating.
Their shows are like big birthday parties.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And honestly, your shows do that for musicians that are just starting out now. They see a Coldplay show and it's inspirational.
Yeah, it's not quite the same level as, the Flaming Lips have pretty much got, them and you two know how to put a show on.
And did you go to South by Southwest in Austin? I had heard that you saw Bob Dylan or you...
No, I was in Austin the day before South by Southwest.
Did you see Dylan there? Or?
No, did he play there?
I had read that you saw Bob Dylan.
I saw Bob Dylan in Los Angeles 2 weeks ago.
Did you get to talk to him?
No. I don't want to meet Bob Dylan. He's one of the only people left that I think is from another planet. and I want to keep
the mystery.
You want to keep some of those people. That him and Kraftwerk I don't want to ever meet.
That's interesting though that you wouldn't want to meet him and that you're a fan.
Yeah, for the very reason,
Yeah. You don't want to ruin it.
Hey Chris, how you doing? I don't ever want to have that conversation. I don't really like your stuff, man. Really?
There's a song that we at 99X were playing about a year ago by The Streets, Dry Your Eyes.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And you, obviously, your vocals were involved. Whatever happened to that? Why was it never officially a part of The Streets or a part of...
Well, it sounded a bit odd with Chris
singing it.
Yeah, that was why. I mean, it sounded, I think, as lovely as Chris's voice is, it sounds better with Mike singing it. It sounded a bit like you were pretending to be.
Yeah. Yeah, the song is like a hardcore gangster singing this tender love song. So if you get a tender love song singer in to sing it, it's like, what's the point?
Mm.
The whole point about Mockingbird by Eminem is that it's this rapper singing this gorgeous song to his daughter.
Right.
Now, that it's kind of the tenderness of a monster that makes songs like that work. I don't mean a monster as in literally a monster, but
right, no, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
I'm so excited about this record coming out because listening to it, not just with radio ears or whatever, but just listening to it as a Coldplay fan, I honestly think it's going to become my favorite Coldplay record. So thank you guys so much for sitting and talking to us about X and Y.
Thank you very much.
You're the ones who made the effort. Thank you so much.
We're very excited to be here and to see the show tonight at the Metro. So thank you.
Yeah, well...
Chris and
Are we
Johnny
wrapping it up now?
I think we're wrapping it up.
Hey, well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. We'll see you in Atlanta
lovely to see
in
you again.
September.
Good to see you as well.
And if you see Elton John around, I'm addressing your listeners. Tell him he's a legend. 99X, the home of rock and roll.
The best of the Morning X. 99X.